Well, it is a very bright and very cold morning in middle of nowhere, Ontario. We're in the middle of nowhere because we are driving the Toyota 4Runner. This is one of the last old school off-road SUVs, and we are driving the 2020 version. Or are we? I will explain that. But first, let's set off with this gigantic ice-covered hill, because we have a 4Runner and we can go anywhere we want to. The 4Runner shares a lot of its mechanicals with the Tacoma. It's a real four-wheel drive system, has a transfer case, has 4-low. It's a solid axle rear, independent front suspension, and look at us just go up this. I couldn't walk up this hill, and it's not even trying. This is just pretty easy. I just have it in 4 high, actually. I'm not even in 4 low. This car has winter tires on it, which is going to be a help to us today because it's pretty much frozen solid out here in the off-road boonies. If it was a bit more muddy, we'd want some real off-road tires, but today those winter tires are exactly what we want. Now, I was kind of alluding to the fact that this is a 2020 because this is a very old vehicle. This thing debuted basically in 2010, and they gave it a pretty thorough refresh in 2014, but still that was 6 years ago, which in car years is like 1,000. So there's a lot of old mechanicals here. For example, the engines, they started making this family of engine in 2002. Obviously it's been updated and such, but it's old. You know, if there was ever a segment in which being an old vehicle matters the least, it's off-road, because if it works, don't fix it. You don't want a lot of complication off-road. You want something that works. And when you have something like this big obstacle here, you want a vehicle that you can just drive right through it. Like this. Why is it so capable? Just the basics. It's got great ground clearance. If you look underneath this car, all the mechanicals are tucked up high so that they're out of harm's way. It's got pretty big tires on it for a production SUV. It's got a good wheelbase, and it's got lots of torque down low from that 4-liter V6. It makes 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque. It's pretty much a tractor motor. It doesn't rev that great. It just kind of chugs along. It kind of feels like an old V8, but it's a big V6. On the not-so-nice side of things, that big V6 feels like it's from the Industrial Revolution. It's very coarse. It feels fine, like it drives smooth. I just wish there was a mute button. It sounds not great. It's not like the good exhaust noise I hear, just like a lot of mechanical noise. It's not great. So I wish it was better insulated, but this is kind of a rough and tumble SUV. This is a vehicle that you could really own for a lot of kilometers. It would last you years and years. So this thing is really built for the long haul. Everyone likes the look of the 4Runner. It's got a very boxy, utilitarian, I mean business kind of look. And it just says to people that I go rock climbing on the weekends and that I own a kayak, which I don't do either of those things. But the point is that this really is a good fit to the people that actually do have one of those outdoorsy, active lifestyles. If you want a vehicle that can carry kayaks or get you out to the trails or tow a snowmobile, it can do a lot of stuff that people want to do for their weekend hobbies. The visibility in the 4Runner is really good. It's a really easy SUV to park, and I feel like I can see out of it, I can make my lane changes, and in that way, it's really nice. In other ways, the lack of change, it's kind of hurting it. I will say that the saving grace of this ancient infotainment system is that it has CarPlay and Android Auto. That's perfect, because basically it means I can just plug in my phone and then forget about whatever Toyota put in this thing, which is probably an Atari system. The other thing that the TRD Pro will come with is a premium Jbl Sound System. However, I've experienced that in the Supra, and it's not much to write home about. I think JBL is kind of one of the weaker brands in terms of the premium audios. So if you're buying one of these, I really do think that Trail is the spec to get. Honestly, the only thing that I missed that the higher trims have and this one doesn't, I really wish it had heated seats. That feels a little remiss on something that costs north of $45,000, but it is the base model, if you will. They also make like a limited luxury version, and frankly, there are so much better luxury SUVs out there that trying to turn this rough and tumble thing into a luxury SUV with leather, I don't know why you would try that. In the end, I know it's a flawed vehicle, but I can't really dislike it much because the 4Runner just feels like an old friend. It's like a family dog, you know? It's just so familiar and comforting. And sometimes when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're driving on some crazy trail, you just want something you can trust. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams, and for more off-road reviews and information, don't forget to follow us on social media on Instagram and Twitter. Whee!